So what is the feminine as per you? This is going to be an open discussion. We are all going to talk today. What is the feminine? Who is the feminine? And one thing, very important, just speak. This is a place of non-judgment. We just speak. So just unmute and begin. Yes, Varna. You'll have to unmute.
Place is only with gods and goddesses. That is prior to 2020. I'm speaking. I saw feminine in the space of God. I never realized my mother as feminine. I never realized myself as feminine. I never received this awareness because wherever I went to temple, I will see, oh my God, oh Taye, please help me, Taye. Even though I call my mom as Amma, I never realized the feminine in her. So that is the feminine for me. And when I am not able to realize of my feminine, I never recognize the feminine of others, even for Mother Earth. So that is for me.
Feminine for me is understanding the nurturing part of you. Now, like how the world is really going and women are wanting to be all over. We are trying to operate more out of a masculine energy of being a provider rather than understanding that it's okay to earn the money, but we can still be the nurturers. Like how we raise children, we can raise our work or we can love our work in that way. So feminine for me is feeling the body fully as the women we are and still doing whatever we need to do in our lives. But from a place of nurturing, more like, how women are all full of love, is more from a place of love rather than a doing thing more like a masculine energy. It's that big differentiation between two, because I always operated out of a masculine energy. It was very tough for me to anchor the feminine energy back. But yes, now that I realize it, I think it's the most beautiful thing.
So can I say something?
Yes, Himani.
Yeah, so as the word says feminine, I think before in our teens and throughout, my school and college days and even after marriage, so the word feminine never made me realize that I really need to pour in more thought to it, that what is feminine. Now, since I'm reading about it, I am connected with people who actually talk about it, so the awareness has come that feminine is something which should be, as women we should be non-judgmental towards our own self initially. That's the first thing, because this is what we've been taught, no, that just the judgments, if I can't do this, okay, so I'm at a lower level. And then taking care of ourselves as women, this is something which I have realized now, which is very, very important, because till the time we don't take care of our own thoughts or own emotions, we can't do anything for anybody. So since now I have realized it, and I really want that actually I should completely understand and apply it to my own self. And
so here I want you, what you want to do we will do later. I just want to understand, what do you think is the feminine energy?
Like
what is the feminine energy?
Somebody said, I think in the first place, that earlier, like, there was no awareness that what is feminine. So for me also, it was like just being a girl is the definition of So that was the only definition which I knew about of this particular word. So this is what I just want to share this, that this is all I had, just this thought.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Parveen.
Yeah, she beautifully put the nurturing part, that I also agree, and the love part also I agree. The third I wanted to add is the grounded. Women are more grounded and more stronger from inside.
Absolutely.
This is one of the characteristics which I feel.
Yes, this is the feminine energy is more grounded and stronger.
Stronger from inside.
Hmm.
Stable, also you can say. Nurturing and love is also that.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, Namrata.
So more adding on to what she said, it's more like we are the earth energy, more grounded,
Right.
more like the nature, where we are creating. So feminine energy is nurturing, it's creation,
Hmm.
it's the earth.
Right. Yes, Anna.
Yeah, I wanted to add creative, and obviously we are softer, more emotions. Yeah, these are the qualities. In addition to all that was said, nurturing, I do agree. Creative, soft, emotional.
Hmm. Yeah, Sanjukta.
Yeah, so it's also about receiving, to receive. So many times we can't receive, we just want to give, give, give. So
Hmm.
if we can bring in that energy and receive.
Right. Yeah, I agree with Sanjukta. I was going to add that. Thank you, Gauri. And today, what are we dealing with? Yes, Sanjukta, you have something else to add?
No, nothing. I'll just bring
Yeah,
that
yeah,
down.
yeah. So, all these things that, the divine feminine is supposed to be. The divine feminine is in both the males as well as the females. What we forget is that we look only at the woman and say, oh, this is what the divine feminine should be. The divine feminine should be in both men and women. The receiving, the nurturing, and the most important thing is the self nurturing, which we forgot totally. Today we look at self care, this, that. It is also about dressing up. Let's understand our ancient ancestors. How did they dress up? All over the world. If you look at India, women wore saris the way the dhotis are worn. See the carvings in the temples, you will know it. Women are not wearing saris, the 6-yard saris in the temples. They're wearing the 9-yard saris. Both men and women wore earrings and different jewelries. The women jewelry, of course, was dainty, and the men's jewelry was more chunky. But in those days, it was chunky. It's only now that we are coming into those dainty jewelries. A pearl was a pearl was a pearl, irrespective whether worn by a man or a woman. Same with all jewelry. We're talking about our own country. And I'm sure the moment we even see the way, even if you see the Egyptian way of dressing, the men and women are the same. So self-nurturing was a way of life of both men and women. The wounded patriarchy has brought it that men are supposed to be like that and women are supposed to be like that. Both men and women had long flowing hair. I don't have evidence from our country, but there is evidence in the Americas where women did the same work as the men. They were hunters, farmers, artisans. There was no difference between a man's job and a woman's job. I don't know about where they carried the strength. So today we deal with the wounded feminine, and next week we deal with the wounded masculine. When our feminine becomes wounded, we go towards becoming the masculine rather than heal ourselves. Why? Food for thought. Because all around us, that is what is spoken. I do remember in MBA, my professor said, I will evaluate you twice because you're a woman. Because I want you to be a man in a man's world. And then I go back home and I've been told, oh, you have to get married because you're a woman. And you have to take care of the family. And you have to give, give, give. And you have to even go back and adjust and compromise. Confused lot of us, right? Opposite instructions, kya kare? And nobody to teach us. Awareness कहाँ था? So what in your space is wounded? If you don't want to answer this question, it's okay. But this is a safe space. And women, as Sanjukta and Gauri pointed out, are receivers. The biological body of the woman is to receive. But we have been only taught to be givers. Starting with our parents, siblings, partners, children. A man enters a relationship in our generation with the energy of, okay, the woman is going to do everything. The responsibility is hers. Let's go back, not very far away from our ancient ancestors, but not many, many years ago, the man went out of the house and brought in food. All the woman had to do was make the food that the man brought. She didn't have to do the entire rigmarole of, oh, kya khayenge? And today, every woman is doing everything, right from deciding what to cook, buying, ensuring that it is cooked, and then taking the stress of someone not eating what is cooked. A simple, tiny example from our everyday life. So let me share the signs of woundedness in the wounded feminine energy. Can you see it? You don't feel comfortable being vulnerable or open with others. You may hide your emotions because you've been taught, oh my God, you're too emotional. You cry all the time. You're angry all the time. You can't be vulnerable. So one of the most important things is of the feminine energy is to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to emote. I have heard of many women who were not allowed to grieve for their parents. Yes, even in today's day, I have come across women whose in-laws tell them, Acha, you have to left your family, now you're ours. So why should you grieve for your parents? Wounded feminine energy. You seek out validation and approval of others. Is it right? Am I doing the right thing? Can I go out? Can I travel? You are a pleaser and struggle to set boundaries. How many of us have issues to set boundaries? Can we set our boundaries? We feel we owe it to others to explain ourselves. You're codependent and lack confidence. You struggle to have connections with women. So many women, I don't have friends, fear of judgment. Oh, I'm just a part of a kitty party. We just meet only to have lunch. Can you have connections with other women where you can be vulnerable and they can hold space for you? You're easily agitated and annoyed by others. A very wounded feminine which moves towards the masculine. You find it hard to rest or just to be in stillness. ये काम खत्म हो गया, चलो नेक्स्ट करते हैं. चलो ये काम खत्म हो गया, चलो नेक्स्ट करते हैं. Can we sit down and just do nothing? You compare yourself to others or judge others. This one's better than me, that one's better than me. I don't think that person is worth being my friend. How can I get along with that person? That person is like this and like that. Yeah, Gauri, you want to add something? And this is a very strong, wounded feminine, which is again going towards the masculine. You feel that you need to be in control of everything. Oh, And this is something that I see in the healing word. Oh, I have received my set of healing. Now I want my husband, my children, and the whole world to come and receive that healing. I want to be in control of my house. If I step out of my house is going to crumble. No, it's not going to crumble. I should be there for my husband, child, everyone in the world. In-laws, control. And here we are. And I'm sure each one of us has given at least one tick to ourselves.
Maybe more than one.
6.
Geetu, somebody wants to join back, I think. There was
Who wants to join back?
Nilima. She sent a message to add her back.
Oh gosh, I have locked the meeting.
Okay.
Ask her to join back. I'll unlock the meeting.
I'm guilty. I was guilty of 6 of them.
You can't be guilty.
In the sense, I used to be in 6 of them out of these 9. Right now, I have resolved most of them. Now I'm only dealing with the vulnerable part of myself where I don't feel my emotions fully. So that's the point I'm working with right now. So the other 5, done and dusted. But yes, this first one, the topmost one, where I still keep my emotions to myself, is what I'm struggling with. And I'm trying to work on that.
And that's where we have, see, the thing is what we've also grown. Just a minute, let me get the other slide on. Okay, I cannot minimize it, so it's going to be. So I just pause the recording. When a person is ready, everything will align in their favor. I always tell people, let them take their own decisions on what they are supposed to do in their life. It is their choice whether they want to remain in that situation or not. The moment we say you must do something, we become those judgmentals. Yeah, Gauri.
And I also feel, I think, when we feel that we have changed something in our lives, the tests also always come up to check whether you have or you haven't. So if we have, great. If we haven't, we need to keep working on it.
Absolutely.
I think it's a constant work in progress also, because different situations manifest in different ways. The core of the situations remains the same.
Absolutely. And we are all guilty. And if we are not, then we are not human. As I use the word guilty, it means we have all done this, been there. We want to change. And change is something that you are going to be doing literally every day of your life. And there are different levels of change. If you remember, there's an article that I've written on the tortoise, the turtle. On its back, it has 13 circles, 13 circles signifying the 13 months, and then the inner 28 signifying the 28 days of each of the lunar months. And we have a saying, slow and steady wins the race, and it comes out of the story of the hare and the turtle. Of course, that's a different story. But what I feel is that whenever we are looking for a change, we have to divide our goal into 13 parts and work with that goal depending on its severity. If it's very severe, it's a very big part of our life. We divide it into 13 and work with 13 lunar months and see if it is doable or not. Any change in our life takes time. It's like the dance of life. We take 2 steps ahead, 1 step behind, maybe 10 steps ahead, maybe 5 steps behind. And accept it. Yes, it's not just a smooth ride up. And yes, anything that you work with in the non-ordinary reality, my favorite statement, always has its tests in the ordinary reality. Share another screen. Here it is. Feminine energy, empowered and disempowered. First, let me read out the disempowered because we feel that insecure, codependent, needy, over emotional, over apologizing. That's why I have the rule of no sorries. We've apologized more than enough to everyone. And this is about both men and women. This is not about just the woman. We have the feminine energy in both the men and the women. A man is also capable of being authentic and intuitive. All right, let's just finish with the disempowerment. Over apologizing, weak boundaries, shame, guilt, feeling of unworthiness, naive, conforming, manipulative. And are these these energies are also in the men. And it is their wounded feminine energy that is showing up as this. So, what is the feminine energy that's empowered? Just being. Today, I want to be in bed doing nothing. How many of us can do that without guilt? I just want to disappear and go on a travel. My house is not going to crumble. Authentic. गुस्सा नहीं करना चाहिए, ये नहीं करना चाहिए, रोना नहीं चाहिए. How many of us can accept? See the man who cannot cry. Don't cry, you're a boy, you're a man. Men don't cry. Can he be his authentic self when he wants to cry? Can he cry? Allowing the men allowing themselves, sorry, this is the wrong sentence, but everyone allowing themselves to feel their emotions and expressing them is one part of feminism, divine feminine energy. But the other part is accepting that the other person is going through these emotions and holding space for them. intuitive. You know what's right, what's wrong. This is super high in women. Receiving, playfulness, empathetic, compassionate, creative, vulnerable. Vulnerable and being authentic are very much connected. Expressive too. Surrender, very much necessary, especially when we are trying to control. And resting. And resting is something where I would like to elaborate. We have the two sides of our body, the right and the left. The right is the masculine and the left is the feminine. And when you pay attention to your nostrils, you will know that one nostril is always more is in strength a little more than the other at some point of time. So just put your hand under your nostrils and see which one is stronger right now. Don't
Do
you
we have do we have to exhale?
exhale? When you exhale, you will know. Take a few breaths.
Mine is left.
Mine is also left.
So as of now, your feminine is stronger. But every hour to 1.5 hours, depending on how your breath work is. If we have a shallow breath, it will be less period of time. If we have longer breaths, it will be longer period of time. Your breath will change. Throughout the day, breath, one side is always heavy and one is always lighter, and then the other takes over. Because that's the way our bodies are designed. So when the right is heavier, the strength of the breath is more, that's the time our body is creating energy. And when the left is more, our body is not creating energy, it's either in the rest mode or expending that energy. When we breathe faster, shorter breaths, we expend energy faster. That's why immediately our bodies move towards the right. The nostril becomes heavier. In Ayurveda, right is the Ida Nadi, the Pingla Nadi. There is that point of 30 seconds when it moves from the right to the left and from the left to the right. That's when our balanced nadi, that is the Sushumna nadi, is also activated. And most yogis look at the time when they find that balance. And that is the point of time where we should be in silence. Because that is the time that our bodies are moving. from the divine masculine, a feminine to the masculine, or masculine to the feminine. When the Sushumna Nadi, or the balancing part of our body, when both the nostrils are breathing equally, that is the time that some balance happens in us.
What's that, Geetu? Can you please repeat? When the nostrils are in balance?
When the ball balance, that's the time some balance happens in us.
Okay.
It will happen automatically.
We go through these phases every day.
We go through these phases many times a day. That's what we say now. We are given so many opportunities. We have to receive those opportunities. Take advantage. Opportunity knocks at our door literally every 1.5 hours.
So with conscious effort, people can be in balance.
You can create the balance. Use one part of your life. Like today, if I am working on, say, receiving. Unless you receive, how will you give? We are only giving, 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 then we become men. Because there's nothing to give, we are just doing the act of giving. It doesn't come from within us. So the vulnerability is when it comes from within us. The authenticity is when it comes from within us. Otherwise, it's an act. Right?
So if we are going to take one, like as you told, receiving, how consciously can we work on this, Geetu? Can you give some instances?
See, the first thing is you'll have to become conscious of your breath. It's like literally, now, how many of us really have the time in the day to sit and work with ourselves?
True.
Those who have, please use that time. I recommend that at least once a month we must give ourselves, even if not more, only to ourselves and work with our breath work. Our breath is our diagnostic tool.
So can I say something?
Yes, Swarna.
Himani, this time.
Okay, Swarna was saying something. She has
Okay,
a
okay.
hand raised before, so I'll allow
Yeah,
her
yeah.
first.
No
So
worries.
what I recommend is everyone just raise your hand so that I can know the order in which everyone is talking. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Swarna.
So, Gitu, two questions as of now. When you asked us to check the exhaling, I feel that I get my left nostril. But the question is, this is the question. I am feeling low. So when feeling low, if I check the breath work of exhaling, then I can have the property of my feminine or masculine is getting like that. I can work now.
See, you're feeling low because you don't have the energy right now to work. So take this period of time of rest because there is no energy. You have expended your energy already. So just rest.
Okay, in the feeling of, for example, I'm asking anxiety or sadness or anything. So that way I can assess and I can proceed further now.
I will give you the step-by-step process of how you're supposed to do towards the end.
Sure. That was my first question. And the second thing is, uh, when I am when I want to say something, but due to some restrictions or subconscious hindrance, I'm not able to do so, where I feel I'm not worthy.
Of course, those things are there in the wounded feminine, and you are there in my workshop. You are
Mhm.
going through an entire 21 days of, you relax, you want results in first day. You are the wounded feminine, like the man. के अभी करो, अभी result आ जाए.
Not like that, just a question popped up.
Yes, have patience.
Sure.
Swarna, the feminine energy of surrender is what is needed right now. Please
At the end, at the end,
work with surrender.
sure. At the end of, okay, one thing I have to share. Today, I had created a boundary with my husband. Today, this morning, I had created the boundary with my husband saying, if you want to be with your mother, be until she is. Later, you please come. Until, don't disturb me. Don't put there and here to me.
See, I understand how you're creating boundaries. These are very personal things and they're getting recorded here. So let's keep the personal things out. I'm going to be teaching how you're going to create boundaries later. So, Swarna,
Why I shared this, even though I know it is recording, but the space of creating boundaries, I did it today. So I'm sharing it.
absolutely fine, but I'll teach you how to create boundaries.
Sure. Thanks.
Thanks. Hmm, where were we? Yes, Himani, you had a question.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know, as lay people, like people who are not aware of these things, what we are talking about here, the balancing part, the nadis, and how uh, throughout the day, so many times we get the opportunity to balance. So if a lay person doesn't know, then how is this going to apply to that? Supposing if I want to create that balance, I know that I want to create a balance, but I'm not aware of this particular thing, that in a day I can do it many multiple times. So how am I going to do it?
So we are here to teach that. There's certain things that I do on Saturdays. There's certain things I do on my workshops.
Okay.
Today, all I'm teaching you is how to find an opportunity to balance yourself.
Okay.
And believe me, this requires your own time. I'm not going to find it for you, and nor is anyone else going to. Only you can know where, when you can balance yourself.
Because this was a new thing, like I've never heard about this before, that we can do it like this.
Why not?
So thank you for sharing this and
Mhm.
creating this word. Yes.
So, usually it takes a day and a minimum of 7 breaths of movement from one side to the other to bring about a change. So, take one part of your feminine, which is wounded, and look at what is the opposite. Giving, 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 not receiving. And at the point when you find that this is going to be a tough time, because when does your breath become equal? It takes a few days to even realize that. But as you realize your patterns, you will. First step is to understand your patterns of breath. First part is understand that when your right nostril is heavier or breathing more, you are creating energy. That's the man. And here is the time where you need to be in the receiving. So you are only giving. when it moves from the right to the left, and you know that it's equalizing, that's when you're going to open your receiving. I open my receiving. And then see if someone does something for you. And can you receive that without guilt?
Yeah, understood.
You have not healed unless you do it without guilt. Your test in the ordinary reality is to really receive without guilt. All quiet. Now the floor is open to all of you. And this is not an easy task. It will take time.
Elaborate.
First of all, we will acknowledge that we can change. Yes, Parveen.
Just the last thing, na? Just repeat it and slightly elaborate it.
The last thing of
I
see.
open my receiving, see if
So
someone
when you see the breath is
heavy,
equal.
equal or heavy, masculine.
So one will be heavy and one will be light. But there will be, so over the next few weeks, just watch your breath.
Okay.
So until now we've been the giving one. So we have to look for the breath where we have to move from the right to the left. So we know it's the right is the stronger breath. And I know that it's about an hour since then. And then I know, okay, my left nostril is going to become stronger.
One thing is when you want to shift the nostrils, na, so you just close the one
I don't recommend that.
that
No,
you don't.
no,
I was clear about it.
we have to be our authentic
Oh,
selves.
I was clear about it. I just
This is a manipulative method.
I know.
We are not going to do that method. So in shamanism, we do not change our breath.
Yeah, I
In
was clear.
Ayurveda, we change our breath. In yoga, we change our breath. In shamanism, when we are healing ourselves, we do not change our breath.
So now we have to judge when we are on the left.
We have to keep
keep observing and see to it. Okay.
Okay, so now it's stronger on the right, and we want to move towards the receiving. We've been giving all the time.
Mine is left.
So now there will be a point of time when the breath will become less strong on the right side, and the left side will start becoming stronger.
Mine is already left is stronger.
So now you don't look.
Now I don't. That's what.
Now is the time. See if people are giving you. You are open to receiving, na? You have 1.5 hours time.
This is the guilt. Guilt one. Here it comes. And that too, I'm doing it with the violet bottle.
How
It's very much
the
clear.
whole thing is get rid of guilt. Why are we guilty? Because it has just been passed down from generations. That women are supposed to do this, men are supposed to do this, women are supposed to do this, men are supposed to do this. Why are we guilty? Why are men guilty of being homemakers? And why are women guilty of not being homemakers? So let's work towards this week is guilt.
Guilt.
Bye bye guilt. Okay, so when that moves, and there is a point where both the nostrils are equally breathing, that is the time you say, I am open to receiving. That is the point where you are going to be using your affirmation. I am open to receiving. And the next 1.5 hours is your test.
Geetu, Anita here.
Yes.
I'm little confused. So now if we have strong breath on the left side, so is it right or should we bring that
Yeah,
in
this is a
balance?
time to be the feminine, no? It's time to be the feminine.
Okay.
When the left is, you can be being, you have to be authentic, intuitive. This is a time where all these energies are there. You can be any of them.
All empowering energies are there.
All the empowering energies. How many of us actually be the empowered energies when our left nostril is on? At least one.
So we see where we are resonating with these bullets that he has given, and we wherever we are not resonating, we work on that. Is it?
It's time for us to be all these empowered energies.
All these.
I don't tell you to work on each one of them together, all of them together. Just work on one energy at a time. Because we come from a state of disempowerment. Things are not going to change overnight into empowered.
Geetu, what is it? Can you elaborate on that word? Authentic meaning here? What does it mean?
Authentic means your true self.
Okay.
I don't feel like doing any work. I want to just sit down. Okay? Can we do that without guilt?
Hmm.
Can we do that without someone giving us a lecture on it? I am angry. I need to express my anger.
Yeah. Very in-depth, Geetu.
They can't express their anger. How many of us have been? No, chup raho, घर की शांति के लिए.
Ah. When
Dialogue. We've got lots of dialogues.
I mean, it's a very beautiful topic. I didn't actually realize, when Geetu was there, so I just jumped into the session today because I missed last session of yours. I didn't know this can be so, the depth which you are able to make me think is so beautiful. Yesterday, just for instance, there was a conversation between my mother-in-law and me. It's recording, so I don't want to go into that. But, at some point, she told, you should be like this way. I don't know. I told, how long you all going to, telling the wrong information to generation after generation. I told her that, so I'm happy that I'm able to voice what I want to. But yes, having said that, that guilt part, later it was like, did I speak too much? Then one part of me is telling him, no, Anita, you stood for yourself. There's nothing wrong in that. One iota of that, yes, it is stuck there. So, you really made me to think, and in a way, it is relieving for me also.
So we are the generation which is the sandwich generation.
It's true.
Yes, Definitely, Swarna, you can leave for your session. I didn't realize this is so in depth that we've gone beyond 12. We're in a sandwich generation.
Thank you. Thank you, Geetu. Bye.
You're most welcome. Bye. So, being the sandwich generation, we've heard it and we are saying, okay, this is what's going to happen. We are the last ones who are going to, this ends with us.
True. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And
Actually,
then,
I had
then the second part is that we are going to hear from the future generations, our descendants.
we are hearing. I mean, this topic was meant to be. I don't know you chose or somebody else chose it, but it's so I can associate at this, especially this moment today, so beautifully. So thank you so much. My gratitude and my gratitude to others also who are at this space today. Thank you so much.
I want these topics, as we bring in these topics, I want everyone to contribute.
And I think it gives us the awareness that whatever is going on in the mind is not wrong, because since so many of us are here on this platform and everybody has similar story to share, so at the end of the day you feel that whatever you're thinking is not wrong. So now grow up. Grow up to what you are. It's very much required.
So, we are all stuck in that part of us where we still are reliving our trauma.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for bringing this up, because it is actually, so much of gratitude to you for bringing all this up, and making us realize that we really need to work on things where it is the most important, you know part of our being, to become better than what we are today.
Uh, we are good.
We are good, yes.
We don't have this good, better, best. That is there in the English dictionary.
Yes, we are good. So acknowledging was missing. I think earlier never used to acknowledge it, but I think now it is important that we start acknowledging on a daily basis, on an hourly basis rather, because we've forgotten this, acknowledging ourselves and complimenting ourselves.
And you know what? I have, and I'm repeating this, there's nothing worse, there's nothing better. We are fantastic. We
Yes,
are authentic. This is us.
yes,
No judgments. Even when
yes,
we say good, better, best, it is an element of judgment. It's an energy of judgment.
yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Himani.
Thank
Hmm.
you. So is it okay if I leave? I have a class to attend.
Yes, yes, please leave.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Hmm. The silent ones. I'm waiting for the silent ones to speak.
I can share some.
Hmm.
So, what I have understood is that when we volunteer to be in spaces like these, where we come in awareness of what we really need to be and how we need to change, I think it's the first step towards a personal growth and honoring the self. And then, yes, it's a journey we choose to undertake. And slowly and steadily, we do reach where we intend to. We do resolve what we need to. And there are lots of things that we are okay with, like there might be 9 points and we just need to tap on two, and 7 are okay. That's a journey we have to still experience. So we are okay with the rest 7. But those 2 also that we decided that no, these 2 are really, really bothering me. They're like up there on my list and I need to work on them. Even that awareness will open gates for all of us. So being vulnerable was the biggest issue I always had. Most of my mentors would say, okay, Namita, you really need to be working on your vulnerability. And I was like, vulnerable how? I cry so easily. Well, no, but you don't feel fully. I says, what does it mean to feel fully? You know, it's like, you don't express your hurt. I said, why bother? Is it always important to really yap away everything you feel? They believe, yes, it is. I says, but it comes across as very rude. The other person gets hurt. Then there is so much of confrontation. There's so much of conflict that arises out of it. Why would one want to get into, tips like that? Why can't that journey be smoother? And then they would come back to say, yes, it can definitely be smoother, but you need to start work with yourself. And as long as you're peaceful in communicating how you are feeling, you will never ruffle anything at all. And it would just happen the way you want to. And you will be able to set boundaries. You will be able to feel vulnerable. You will be able to open yourself to vulnerability. But you know what? It's easier said than done. It is a lot of work. It is not easy to feel fully. It is not. At least for me, I'm talking about, and that's really something that I've been working on, and I wish to work on it more.
Aho. Yes, Anita. Time that you speak. Anita Rao. Please unmute. Anita, you'll have to unmute. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
No, I can lip read. I think she's saying there's a problem.
Okay,
with her.
no worries. Food for thought. Lots of things are going to happen with us until the next week when we meet with the wounded masculine. Because it's not complete without the wounded masculine. Even if we are the women over here.
You know what's the irony of our society? We are not allowed to feel either masculine or the feminine fully. There are always people who will be contradicting and challenging that part of you. Always, So stepping up your own game, I think, is the journey of life.
And at the time that you are comfortable.
Of course.
Because when I have realized one thing mainly, the moment you force someone to do something when they're not ready to do it, they won't do it. It's a waste of energies on both the sides.
हाँ, आप घोड़े को पानी तक ले जा सकते हो पर उसे पानी नहीं पिला सकते.
So until next Sunday, anyone wants to say something? Please, if some things do come up, put it up in the group. And a lot of food for thought. So happy Women's Day for the 8th of March. We celebrate only once a year. And that is something sad.
Every day for me. Happy Women's Day each and every day.
This time it's Holi also.
Holi also. Oh, Holi. Now let me stop the recording.